Hello, welcome to Magic Circles in the Sky and today's episode. But before we begin, I'd like to give thanks to all the people that have liked, shared, and subscribed. This is very much appreciated. Now for today's episode: The Devil and the Three Golden Hairs by the Brother Grimms, which I've renamed as An Impossible Feat. The structure will remain the same, starting off with a summary where I'll digress in a few highlighted sentences, give a brief reflection, and my pearls of wisdom. We'll move on to how I see this fairy tale plays out in today's society. Then, a film parallel to this fairy tale, the trigger points, and my quote. Now, let's begin with The Devil and the Three Golden Hairs, or An Impossible Feat, is a fairy tale by the Brother Grimes. It tells the story of a lucky child from birth who is prophesied to marry the king's daughter when he turns 14. I digress. This poor baby's life has been organized and promised to a serious commitment to marriage, like a contract without love. The king, angered by the prophecy, buys the child from the poor parents and throws him into a river in a box. I digress. The king's anger goes too far, making a disastrous mistake with a total abuse of power, hoping to end his life, but miraculously the boy survives and is raised by a miller and his wife. I digress. The heavens defied the king's hasty yet misguided use of power. Reflection: overcoming obstacles and adversity. The protagonist faces numerous challenges throughout the story, including the king's ill intentions and the seemingly impossible task of obtaining three golden hairs from the devil. However, he uses his intelligence and resourcefulness to overcome each obstacle, demonstrating the importance of determination and perseverance in the face of adversity. Pearls of wisdom: you should never underestimate anyone. Years later, the king visits the mill, recognizes the lucky child, and sends him on a dangerous quest to fetch three golden hairs from the devil's head. Imagine that. I digress. The king is obviously threatened by young boy's bright birthright and blessing. He sends him on an impossible task in the hope he'd self-destruct. On his journey, the lucky child encounters townspeople with questions about their own misfortunes. I digress. The boy's eyes are opened to the poverty of others. A dry fountain that once flowed with wine, a tree that once bore golden apples, and a ferryman trapped in an eternal servitude. I digress. It appears the area's resources have dried up. He promises to find answers for them on his journey as the prophecy unfolds. Reflection: the protagonist, a poor boy, is an unlikely hero who defies expectations by outwitting powerful adversaries, such as the king and the devil. This theme is common in many fairy tales, illustrating that even the most humble and unlikely individuals can achieve greatness and find happiness. The story follows a poor boy who is prophesied at birth to marry the king's daughter when he turns 14. Fearful and jealous, the king attempts to eliminate the child to prevent prophecy from coming true, but he cannot. Pearls of wisdom: there is no destiny swapping. Even the king's jealousy can't reverse the boy's prophecy. In hell, the devil's grandmother, another fortuitous situation, the devil's grandmother helps the lucky child by hiding him in her dress and obtaining the three golden hairs and answers to the townspeople's questions. I digress. I believe this boy has been blessed with a pure sincerity that attracts people who want to help him. The devil reveals that a toad is blocking the fountain, a mouse is gnawing the tree roots, and the ferryman can be freed by passing the oar to another person. I digress. The solutions have been revealed, and the boy meets the townspeople. Reflection. The protagonist's wit and cleverness enables him to succeed in his quest. He's able to obtain the devil's three golden hairs and solve the challenges of the town people by using his ingenuity and resourcefulness. This theme emphasizes the importance of intelligence and quick thinking in overcoming difficult difficulties. Throughout the tale, the protagonist encounters various obstacles, including dangerous situations and magical beings. He overcomes these challenges through his cleverness, kindness, and resourcefulness. Pearls of wisdom, as clever as a fox who outmaneuvers even the most worthy opponent. Upon returning, the lucky child shares the solutions with the townspeople who reward him with gold. Wow. I digress. From poverty to wealth, he delivers the three golden hairs to the king and marries the princess. I digress. It seems the prophecy comes true no matter what. Greedy for gold, the king tries to visit the river where the lucky child gained his fortune, only to become the new ferryman, eternally trapped in his punishment. Reflection. The irony here is the king's revenge to punish the poor yet blessed boy turns into a reversal of fortune. He metaphorically digs his own grave through his own inability to recognize the truth. The role of female figures. The devil's grandmother plays a crucial role in helping the protagonist complete his quest. She protects him from the devil and obtains the answers he needs to solve the townspeople's problems. This highlights the significance of the female characters in fairy tales, often providing essential support and wisdom where needed. Pearls of wisdom, the boy proves to the townspeople that he is a leader to respect and who keeps his word. Interesting, very interesting fairy tale. How this fairy tale plays in today's society, there's so many common threads here. The central theme of this fairy tale is how prophecies reveal a predestined future that cannot be swapped or denied. It just cannot be. The power of this prophecy isn't coercive, it's divine alignment from its divine alignment with the prophecy that originates from the realms of inevitability and the divine. The boy has been prophesied to marry the king's daughter despite the conditions surrounding his birth. Every attempt the king makes to avoid the prophecy, abandonment, murder by proxy, impossible task becomes the very mechanism by which it is fulfilled. This matters. The story is not saying fate crushes free will. It's saying resistance to truth creates the path you fear. So resistance to the truth creates the path that you actually fear. And this is what the king And even people in everyday society fail to realize the more you try to block or deny the inevitable, the more it is likely to escalate the outcome. The king unabashedly embodies this resistance to truth in the hope his royal influence can change this divine spiritual alignment, but it can't. The king's downfall is not that he hears the prophecy, is that he cannot tolerate a reality in which he is not in control. This isn't unusual. Most people who fear lack of control become, in a sense, control freaks. His violence, manipulation, and fear driven action are efforts to outwit meaning, meaning itself. In doing so, he aligns himself with destruction. He basically embodies it, self destruction, while the boy aligns himself with trust, humility, and openness. The prophecy does not make the boy worthy. The boy's virtue allows the prophecy to unfold. When the boy's journey to hell is retrieved, uh, uh, re- uh, boy's journey is retrieved, the three golden hairs, the devil is not the ultimate power, which is a surprise twist in the fairy tale. He is contained within the story's moral order. His grandmother, an older woman with wisdom, mediates the encounter. I wager the grandmother sees the boy is on the right side of the prophecy. Evil here is not omnipotent, it is bounded by a deeper structure of truth. This reminds me how in society people feel about following through on using the manipulative power of bending a predestined alignment, like a job promotion, where one person will do anything to achieve this position. They will even do the most nefarious things just to get their way. And subsequently, someone else ends up getting the position. And it may not be the person they were competing against in the first place. Okay, so let's take a look at prophecies can't be denied, but not for the reason people assume. They aren't unstoppable because they are rigid. They are unstoppable because truth has gravity. Those who fight it fall into the wake. Those who move with it are carried forward, often through suffering, but not without meaning. The prophecy is not fulfilled despite resistance, but through it. That's a strong choice. That's a strong, that's a strong kind of meaning behind it. And so let's take a look at the film and the fairy tale. I've decided to choose the Macbeth in comparison to the devil with the three hairs or to an impossible feat. The boy versus Macbeth. The king embodies denial. The king's downfall is not he hears the prophecy is that he cannot tolerate reality in which he is not in control. His violence and manipulation driven action are efforts to outwit meaning itself. In doing so, he aligns himself with destruction, while the boy aligns himself with virtues of humility. The boy hears prophecy and grows into it through courage. It doesn't just automatically happen. He grows into it through courage, humility, and wise action. He inherently bestows the qualities of divine enlightenment. This isn't something you can attain from drive and determination or power. Macbeth hears in the film and in the play, Macbeth hears the prophecy and tries to force it through ambition, fear, and violence. The prophecy in Macbeth collapses into tragedy because of misalignment of character. The boy does not grasp at the crown. He becomes the kind of person who can carry it. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Macbeth grasps at the crown, and in doing so, proves he cannot carry it. In terms, the boy rises in the consequence of inner order. Macbeth's fall is the consequence of embodied corruption. Both stories explore prophecy. One shows destiny fulfilled through moral integrity. The other shows destiny distorted through obsessive hunger for power. We see this so often in society, people. In The Devil and the Three Hairs, or as I call it, An Impossible Feat, a character follows through on prophecy. In Macbeth, ambition corrupts it. That contrast is a clean and it is powerful and thematically consistent with the ongoing journey that I have been following through these fairy tales. Now let's take a look at the trigger points. Now, the main trigger point for me point here could be our ego. No matter how strong it is, it can't influence the outcome of the prophecy. What's really frustrating to us is as mere mortals, that's the daunting reality, is that we don't have that type of power. We just don't have it. Prophecy isn't earned or passed on due to any kind of favoritism. It's not like that. I've had this something, well, it's not a prophecy, but it's kind of an experience that I had with the church. And I still have it. When I went to the church in 2000, and I was there from 2000 until about beginning of 2009, there were people that did everything in their power to destroy my reputation, to deny me of ever using any of my gifts, and just putting me down all the time. They did everything they could, and it was interesting. They would never say a please or a thank you if I did anything well. They just really didn't want to give me anything. Well, I used to do the accounting at one stage, counting of the money, and they decided to put me over there with the biscuits because you can't go wrong with biscuits. What could you possibly do? Just put them on the plate. Well, they didn't want to accept my creativity. So what happened was, it's that the universe moves in such a powerful way. My creativity manifests itself in such a way that people would stand by the table to watch me decorate each tray. And even the pastor's wife, who is in on the act, said, "This is art on a plate." They could not kill. They could not, no matter how much they denied me of using my gifts, they could not kill my gifts. It was going to come out no matter what they did. So I just wanted to show that example. It's not a prophecy, but it's along the lines of where people wanting to deny the reality. So that's my trigger point for today and this very interesting fairy tale. And I would like to end with my quote: "Healing is a lifelong lesson, blessing, and gift we give ourselves, mind, body, and soul. Healing is a lifelong lesson, blessing, and gift we give ourselves, mind, body, and soul." Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.